Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is a special Wrestle Peers conversation. I'm your host, Ibou Peers, better known to many of you guys as Back and Hangman. I'm with King AO, and we're joined by the leader of the Mogul Embassy, Swerve Strickland. Swerve, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Man, I just got cooked last night on a promo, so I'm not feeling too good right now. I'm not feeling the best, but got a little aggression out on this workout this morning. That's why I'm in this hoodie. So we're gonna get back to the drawing board. Prepare for Saturday. And show the world what Swerve does.
Bro, you didn't even get to. Yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of this Saturday, this is going to be your first time that you get to show a national TV audience something that you came up doing for a long time, which is death matches. You have one of the most critically acclaimed death matches, and with the Hell of the War match in Lucha Underground with AR Fox, who's going by Dante Fox at the time. Is getting back into death matches something that you're excited to be doing, or is there any nervousness there? What's going on?
No, you're never excited to do a death match, because there's a lot. There's a lot of mental preparation you got to get into to prepare for something like that. Especially I've been away from it for so long, and really focusing on the style and recreating and reinventing and trying to carve my own path and the way I'm wrestling now. It's stemmed so far away from deathmatch, high intensity, high impact wrestling that mine was just more finesse and more ground grappling and striking based and stuff like that. So it's going to take some mental privacy for sure, and then a lot of if you want to say meditation to really get back to that place. But once the lights are shining bright, the people are in the seats, they're screaming, "Whose house? Swerve's house," and the red light comes on. It's oh man, I'm right back in the war zone, I never left.
No, I hear that. My big thing when I just think about what you got going on is personally, this is my subjective opinion. I think you're the most consistent. Your stuff with Hangman has been the most consistent stuff on Dynamite recently. And I think I chalk it up to basically it feeling like fans can see the vision with you right now. They can see that this is going somewhere. You're on the ascent, and so this is a horse you want to back. And I think fans can see that Swerve is somebody that you want to look out for, because going into next year, you're going to be in a higher position on the show, and so they can invest in that, right? And I think I could attribute that to just what you got going on with the Mogul Embassy. My question for you is, what goes into putting together that presentation, and how long has this version of you existed in your mind? Because I feel like I've seen flashes of this, even dating back to NXT with Hit Row, but right now I'm getting a fully realized version of this version of Swerve. What goes into this presentation? Who's helping you? How did you put this whole thing together?
A lot of it is finding the strengths of everybody and utilizing those strengths and not trying to have them go outside of their strengths. That's the key to okay, who do we have? All right, because first it was Tony Khan came up with the idea of the merger and merging the embassy with the Mogul affiliates and putting that together. And it was out of our control, and it was out of our creative plans, but it was just okay, this is what we're going to be doing. How do I utilize everybody's strengths? And Toa and Khan have ascended tremendously, which isn't talked about enough. The fact that they since us coming together, they got in the ring with Sting, they got to be in primetime television spots on tag team, beat the Young Bucks, face off against Kenny and Jericho on Collision. They've just fully just embraced the position they're at, and then taking advantage of it. And now this weekend they're going to be going to World Tag League in New Japan. That's cool. So give them guys credit where credit's due. Then you have Brian Cage, who's the individual, the lieutenant of the Mogul Embassy, the guy that you send out there, face off against anybody, make this a powerhouse, a true, genuine guy who got my body right. You know what I'm saying? He's truly one of the greatest workhorses that not just in AEW but the industry has to offer. Been consistent. He's been consistent for ever since I've started watching him, back in PWG days. You know, this man has always ascended and been consistent and just one of the best 5-tool players we have in the roster. And then you have Nana with the resurgence of a lifetime in the managerial role from watching this man 20 years ago in Ring of Honor with Jimmy Rave, rest in peace, with the embassy and crowning him the crown jewel, to passing on to Jay Lethal, passing it on to me at All In at Wembley Stadium. Everybody has a piece, is a big piece, and plays a big part. There's no small pieces in the Mogul Embassy. Everybody is a major player, and presenting them in a major way and as major players has been the key, like, evolution of this. And then myself, like, truly seeing the rise and then descent into madness of my character role, and seeing like the knowing that that Sting has put me in a coffin and All In front of 80,000 people. That should have some type of mental effect on someone. You don't want something like that to just go like lost. You know, it's like, okay, I've been in a coffin for a week and a half. That would do something to anybody. And
and if
so
you don't sell that, then it's like you're lying. Forget it happened.
Yeah, and so so some people are like, oh, Swerve should win. Like, no, Swerve should be affected. This is a transition of a man's mental, like, it was already on the brink with going into Nick Wayne's house and assaulting him, you know, at the wrestling school. So you already seen what I was capable of in my own free will. Now seeing someone break me with a Darby Allin and a Sting in front of that many people, the biggest anticipation and the biggest creative way to come out of that is who was going to be my first victim coming out of that. Who was going to be the first person to truly feel the wrath of what my transition was going to be. And it was Hangman Page. And like I said, I kind of maneuver and adapt to what I'm given. Things don't always go according to plan. Okay, cool. How do I still use that as a tool to maneuver and to create? How do I use that as a tool to it's almost like taking momentum, like judo. You're using momentum and the momentum of your opponent and using it against them, and still striking effectively. And that's kind of like what my creative process is. I'm like, okay, this didn't work. We don't see it going this way. We're going this way. Okay, I can still use that too.
Speaking on Tony Khan being the one who had the idea of the merger between the embassy and the Mogul affiliates, what's your relationship with TK like? Because you spoke in the past about how you went to Triple H and you were like, I want to be one of your guys. I want to be one of your guys. I want to have a great relationship with you like you have with Adam Cole or Tommaso Ciampa and those guys. It didn't really happen. And your big break or your push, or when you started being treated like a star in NXT, was because Shawn Michaels put his arm around you. So what's your relationship with TK? Is it different today than it was when you signed, or has it been consistent? What's going on there? It's definitely changed in many ways. Like the fact that when me and Tony the first year, he came on my podcast, we really chopped it up and stuff. And he's always believed in me. It was just a matter of positioning me in a place that benefited me the most, rather than just putting me anywhere. I've always been a spot where I had my creative control on certain points, but then I also had to be mindful of the fact that this is his promotion, this is his show, he wants things to go a certain way, and I gotta trust him and respect that he's doing what's best for me in the long run too. So instead of me just trying to take control of every single thing that I have and what I want to do, I gotta understand and trust him to be you know what, I'm gonna take my hands off the steering wheel and let him drive it, and let me just be passenger and trust the creative process of the lead creator of this product, you know?
Right.
And that's what got us into where we're at right now with Hangman. It's and I was right. My intuition was right to really trust him. And Tony, in so many different languages he will speak, was trying to speak that sentiment to me. And now I'm listening. Now I'm like, yes, what do you need? How do you see this going? What do you want? And rather than like trying to preach to him, this will work. This is what's going to happen. This is what I want. You know, now it's like, now it's kind of reverse. And now but that built over a year of like back and forth and back and forth. Now it's just like, now it's not back and forth anymore. It's like, all right, this is where we're going and I'm listening. And then this is where we're going. Now he's listening. And it's not necessarily like, a battle. I wouldn't say a battle. It was never necessarily a battle.
Maybe, or
yeah, it's just like, okay, what about this? What about this? What about this? Now it's like, okay, we should go this way. Okay, I like that. Well, can we do this? Sure. Can we do this? Sure. And now it's like me asking, what does he want? And how does he want this portrayed? And it's been one of the last year. This year has been, I would say the second half of this year has been like one of the smoothest rides I've ever had in my wrestling career ever, anywhere.
You can see it in the work. You can see it on television.
Yeah.
It feels like one of those things where ideally when you have a main event wrestler and a booker or a creative mind, when they kind of have chemistry with each other and they're kind of on the same page and they meet each other in the middle, it makes it much easier to create because it's like he has a better feel for you and you have a better feel for him. And so it just makes it a much easier process when it comes to putting together stuff for TV. So that's as a viewer, that's what it looked like,
That the fact that he trusts me, it's like a big badge of honor for me in this past year. It was like he trusted me to go out there and with Sting in front of 80,000 people. And another thing, he trusted me to go out there 15 minutes in the ring with Bryan Danielson commercial free. Like those two big things is like I trust him and he trusts me. That's a great relationship to have.
Right.
I got a question for you, Swerve. The Keith Lee thing kind of fizzled out in the middle of this year. From your perspective, can you walk me through what happened there? Is there was this a situation out of your control? Was there heat or anything like that? And do you ever intend to maybe kind of touch back on that plot point? Like, talk to me about what happened with Keith Lee.
That's a creative decision. I wouldn't say there's nothing personal. Okay. It's a creative decision. And once again, that's something I have to trust. That's something Keith has to trust, and that's something the fans have to trust in watching the product. Okay. Like we haven't steered you wrong yet.
Speaking of talking on the 15 minutes that you went with Bryan Danielson, commercial free Tuesday Night War was a huge spot. I don't know if you saw it, but Danielson put you over huge after the match. He was just talking about, you watch Swerve, you know he's great, but you don't know like that he's just like one of the best in the world that you really get into the ring with him. Over the last couple of months, Kenny Omega has put you over, Chris Jericho, Mark Henry, Edge, like the list goes on. What does it mean to you that some of like the biggest names in the game, some of the best professional wrestlers in the world, they see it in you, they see you work, and they're like, this guy has it?
It's the old school. It's the old school way. Like a lot of people count me as one of the new generation of guys, but I still have a lot of old school elements to me. And that's one of them, like letting my work show shine through rather than me just talking about it on social media, trying to win over every single account and forum and blog and try to go to battle and try to plead my case, just let my work show. Just let me go out there and create, and let me every time I try to every time I get time on camera, I try to let my spirit show through it. I don't want to just say empty words. I don't want to just be in front, whether it's 30 seconds or a minute. I want you to feel something about my presence being on that camera with as much time as I have or as little time as I have, which is most I can say, last night with the little bit that I didn't say anything, but you still felt something emitting from me. And
your face said a lot when the way you were reacting to how the things he was saying to you.
Correct. You feel that, and then I always try to I always try to put something that's something me and Adam Copeland have been saying. We've been talking for 3 years ever since I met him in WWE. It was Beth Phoenix, honestly, that referred me to Adam Copeland, and she told him how much of a fan I was. I grew up. I still have his book literally in my room. He had such an influence on me 10 years ago, the decade of decadent stuff, so like just speaking with him and trying to put the fan in your position of how they would feel is something I try to do every time. And that's how sometimes it communicates through the camera in a lot of ways. And sometimes people in the seats want to be in the position I am, or they feel that they are in the position I am, feeling such a way that from my opponent. And I think that's what Bryan Danielson sees. I put a feeling in the situation. And like I said, I don't study wrestling anymore. I study people. And now I'm starting to get through to the people, the person that is Bryan Danielson, and the recommendations I'm getting, the person that Kenny Omega is, the person that Chris Jericho is, the person. We have a personable relationship with one another before it even gets to the professional. And I think that's where that influence and those compliments are coming from,
For sure. Listen, it's all showing. Your evolved relationship with Tony, your heightened awareness for just you honing in on your character and the mogul embassy and all that. It's all coming together, and I think you're peaking at the right time here. It's feeling like this is all really really going somewhere, which is nice. And again, you're gonna touch back on a direction you haven't been in your career in a long time this Saturday when you face Hangman Page in the Texas Death Match on the AEW Full Gear in LA. So folks, definitely check that out for sure, because that's going to be something else.
Right.
And
fully expect that to be the match of the night.
It's gonna be insane. I'm kind of scared on your behalf, to be honest with you. Hangman
You
looked
should
like
be scared on Hangman's. You should be scared on his behalf too.
So he's not gonna piss on your grave. He's not gonna end up.
I mean, I got to die for that to happen, and I'm impossible to kill. Like I'll say one thing.
Yeah.
Out of between me and Hangman Page, I'm the only one who's actually been trained to actually kill people. I will say that.
Okay. Well, there you have it, folks.
That's
Straight
a bar.
from Swerve Strickland himself, folks. This was a conversation on the WrestlePeers channel. Swerve, we thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Best of luck on your match this Saturday. AEW Full Gear available on the Bleacher Report app. Guys, thank you so much. We'll catch you guys next time.